Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
We begin with the latest advance in the battle against the coronavirus. Johnson & Johnson's vaccine is expected to be the third to be approved by the FDA, and the first that would be a single dose. COVID-19 specialist Amanda Decker is here with a look at how soon the shots could ship out.
Today, an FDA panel spent the day going over whether to give emergency use authorization to Johnson & Johnson's single-dose COVID-19 vaccine, which would make it the third available in the United States. As with Pfizer and Moderna, the FDA panel spends the day hearing from CDC officials as well as members of the Vaccines and Related Biological Products Advisory Committee, called VRBPAC, which is made up of vaccine experts or other medical and industry professionals. Then, after discussing the findings of the J&J trials, the FDA is expected to grant approval to the first single-dose COVID-19 vaccine to become available in the country. As with the other two vaccines already on the market, this shot can lead to some minor side effects, including headaches, fatigue, and muscle pain at the injection site, as well as nausea and fever, but there have been no reports of anaphylaxis or allergic reactions. Johnson & Johnson's data shows its vaccine is 66% effective at preventing moderate infections and 85% effective at preventing severe cases of COVID-19. And another announcement involving those vaccines today, the FDA saying that Pfizer's shots no longer need to be stored at that deep freeze temperature. They can now be stored in regular freezer temperatures, which is going to help with distribution, shipment, and storage on site. I'm COVID-19 specialist Amanda Decker reporting.
As we continue our celebration of Black History Month, tonight we look back more than 150 years. Matt Kleindens tells us about a group of volunteers from Chemung County who were on the front lines in the fight for equality.
With the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation, thousands of black men across the country began enlisting the fight in the Union Army. About 24 of them from Chemung County would end up fighting in one of the most famous regiments in all of the Civil War. They fought for freedom, and they found glory. In January 1863, the 54th Massachusetts Regiment began calling on volunteers to serve in one of the nation's first colored units. Organizers of the unit would go on to welcome several dozen men from Chemung County into their ranks.
24 Chemung County residents who went to Massachusetts specifically to join the 54th Massachusetts. There were 22 from Elmira and 2 from Horseheads. It was very important to them that they participate because they believed in the cause.
The men who joined from Chemung County ranged from the age of 16 to 39, and the majority were kept together in Company F. After training for 4 months, the 1,100 men at the 54th Massachusetts were deployed for action in South Carolina. There, the regiment would make a name for themselves in a battle of Fort Wagner, as the unit suffered 270 casualties in the unsuccessful breach of a Confederate garrison. In that battle, the men of Chemung County were in the thick of the fight.
The Chemung County men were in fact involved in the Battle of Fort Wagner. So 5 of them were injured. 3 of them later died of their wounds.
Although they lost the battle, the valor they displayed helped encourage further enlistment of African American soldiers. Years later, the story of the 54th Massachusetts was retold in the Academy Award-winning movie Glory, and a memorial was created in Boston. However, the legacy of the 24 Chemung County soldiers lives on in the memory of their descendants, which Rachel Dworkin hopes will change.
And I think that we need as a country to sort of talk a little bit more about the Civil War service of African Americans. And I think we as a county need to talk about it.
This celebration of Black history is brought to you by Corning Community College. Matt Kleindens, Big Fox, WYDC in Corning.
A long-awaited American intelligence report made public today on the gruesome killing of Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi. It concludes that Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman approved the operation to capture or kill him. Rich Edson has more.
The Biden administration releases a long-awaited declassified U.S. intelligence report on the killing of Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. It finds the Saudi Crown Prince is responsible. The report from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence says, quote, "We assess that Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman approved an operation in Istanbul, Turkey, to capture or kill Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. The intelligence report says the U.S. based its assessment on the Crown Prince's control over decision-making in Saudi Arabia and the direct involvement of one of his key advisors in the operation. Khashoggi was a 59-year-old U.S. resident and Washington Post contributor. He had criticized the Saudi royal family. Khashoggi entered a Saudi consulate in Turkey on October 2, 2018. He never walked out. A group of assassins killed him and then dismembered his body. His remains were never recovered. Saudi Arabia blamed his death on an operation gone wrong. The U.S. intelligence report goes on to say the Crown Prince viewed Khashoggi as a threat to the kingdom and broadly supported using violent measures if necessary to silence him.
We have to be courageous enough as friends to speak candidly and to make clear our concerns.
The decision to release this report could complicate relations between Saudi Arabia and the United States. The Biden administration has already limited arms sales and halted U.S. support for Saudi Arabia in the war in Yemen. At the State Department, Rich Edson, Fox News.
The Federal Communications Commission has approved a new internet subsidy program for families struggling during the pandemic. Eligible households can get a credit of up to $50 per month on their internet bills. In tribal areas, eligible households can get up to $75 per month. $100 off for one computer or tablet is also included. Last year, Congress passed a coronavirus relief package that allocated more than $3 billion to the new FCC program. Sign-ups for the new benefits could begin within the next 60 days. Anyone on food stamps, Medicaid, or who has received a Pell Grant or lost their job during the pandemic is eligible for the subsidy. On a tour of hard-hit Houston, President Biden is getting a first-hand look at recovery operations and getting a chance to thank volunteers as the state gets back on its feet after last week's storm and the past year's pandemic. Caroline Shively has the latest.
President Biden toured an emergency operations center in Houston on Friday, following the state's catastrophic response to severe winter weather in Texas. Storms and freezing temperatures across the state killed dozens of Texans, knocked out power for millions, and left millions more with no drinking water.
It's a hell of an operation. It's probably the best one in the country. It's a simple place. But thank you for what you're doing. You're saving people's lives, and you're doing, as my mother would say, you're doing God's work, kid. You're doing God's work. Thank you.
As the president offered federal support, state lawmakers pushed for answers from energy officials.
I feel a great deal of responsibility and remorse about the event.
In Houston, the president and first lady thanked volunteers at a food bank, one of many that have struggled to keep up with increased demand brought on by the storms and the COVID pandemic. The president is also speaking at a FEMA COVID-19 vaccination facility, NRG Stadium, normally the home of the Houston Texans football team, one among many across the country converting sports venues into vaccination clinics. On Friday, White House officials praised businesses for helping fight the pandemic.
Ford and The Gap are producing and donating millions of masks. Professional sports leagues and the live events industry have offered their more than 100 stadiums and venues to local communities to be used as vaccination sites.
More than 100 Texas counties have been included in the major disaster declaration by the federal government. On Friday, another 18 were added. Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Twitter is considering letting users become paid subscribers to get access to exclusive content from their favorite Twitter accounts. The company teased the feature during its Analyst Day presentation on Thursday. It would be called Super Follows, and if implemented, users would be able to pay creators for additional content within their Twitter feeds, like special announcements and newsletters. The social media company has been exploring subscription options in recent months. It's an attempt to make money from Twitter users and diversify beyond its core advertising business. Target is expanding its partnership with Apple by launching mini stores within the retailer. Target says these scaled-down versions of Apple stores are opening in the coming months. They'll be in 17 stores in Texas, Florida, New York, Massachusetts, and Pennsylvania. Target says it will have an expanded assortment of products and staff will receive specialized training from Apple, but customers will still need to visit an Apple store for repairs. Expect fast food chains to add more plant-based options to their menus in the future. Beyond Meat says it's just signed supply deals with McDonald's and Yum brands. According to Beyond Meat, its deal with McDonald's means more than supplying McPlant burgers to the popular burger chain. They'll also work to develop plant-based chicken, pork, and egg products for the company. As for Yum Brands, it operates chains like KFC, Pizza Hut, and Taco Bell. Beyond Meat says it will be creating new plant-based menu items for those restaurants as well. A nose piercing went horribly wrong for a woman in Long Island. What started as a beauty statement ended up in a serious infection, and an organ transplant was needed to save the woman's life. Carolyn Gusoff has that story.
The tiny diamond stud in Dana Smith's nose was something she decided to get on a whim. It only cost $60, but nearly cost her life. The 37-year-old Queens mom started feeling sick a month later.
Stomach pain, so I felt like I kind of lost appetite.
Then she couldn't eat or drink.
I didn't want to go to the hospital because I'm like, well, with COVID going on, I got to a point where I felt like I didn't have a choice.
Doctors at Long Island Jewish and North Shore University Hospital diagnosed Smith with very rare liver failure.
Fulminant liver failure is when you're perfectly healthy, you acquire a virus, and within 2 months, you fall into coma.
Days later, she woke up and learned she'd had a liver transplant.
I thought I just had like a stomach virus or, just something with my stomach. I never would have thought that my liver was failing and there was a chance that I probably might not have been here today.
The mystery culprit, her nose piercing, had become infected with hepatitis B. Doctors say it was a process of elimination.
We couldn't figure it out until all the tape was taken away from her nose, and I said, look at that. When did you get that? It's so tiny. Yeah. And she then told us it was right at the end of Thanksgiving.
Mystery solved. Doctors say they've seen an uptick in liver failure.
And I think this has to do with people not coming to the hospital readily enough, early enough to get treated.
Smith is sharing her story to warn others that waiting too long to see a doctor or go to the hospital, even during the pandemic, can be a deadly mistake.
Even with COVID going on, you should still go get checked out because you never know. That one decision saved my life.
Doctors recommend a hepatitis B vaccine for everyone, especially those considering a piercing.
Meteorologist Kim Walker has your forecast for the weekend next.
Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Tonight's Big Fox forecast is brought to you by William Mattar. Good evening, everyone. I'm meteorologist Kim Walker with your weather update. Hopefully you enjoyed this beautiful day. We did see plenty of sunshine, at least some peaks of sunshine, and highs were in the 40s once again. Winds right now coming in from the south-southeast in Corning at around 4 miles per hour, only around 3 in Watkins Glen, but still northeast winds reported in Elmira, but light winds at that, less than 5 miles per hour. For tonight, I'm expecting most of these winds will really calm down and then start to pick up again for your Saturday. What's going to happen is we have a low pressure system that will be moving along to our north. It's going to be drifting to the east. We're going to be on the warm side of the system. So we could start off with a wintry mix, but then as warmer air starts to take over, we are expecting all the precipitation will be switching over to rain in the afternoon, and then possibly there could be a little bit more rain for your Sunday. But for your forecast for tomorrow, we are expecting cloudy conditions with a few showers throughout the day. Temperature readings will start off pretty mild tomorrow morning. We're looking at lows around 40 degrees, and then by the afternoon, it looks like we could climb into the 50s. So it's going to be nearly 10 degrees warmer tomorrow. Clouds will stick around through the evening, so those temperatures really won't drop down all that much. We're also tracking another system that will be coming in on Monday. Again, because this low will be located to our north, it looks like we could see a burst of snow, but that will be switching over to rain as those temperatures do warm up for your Sunday as well as on Monday. So we do have another round of precipitation coming our way early next week. So let's take a look at our future radar for tonight. We are expecting very cold conditions, at least cold enough where we could see a little bit of snow mixing in with sleet, and then It looks like that will be switching over to rain, as you saw the green that was showing up. So that's going to be rain before noon on Saturday. In the afternoon, it looks like the activity will start to wind down, and then we have that next round of rain coming in on Sunday. Around 6 o'clock in the morning, we're going to start off with cloudy conditions. By noon, a few showers moving in from the south. There will be some areas, though, that could see some snow mixing in as well. But during the day, as we do warm up to above freezing, all the precipitation will be switching over to rain. And then as colder air pulls in later in the day on Monday, it looks like there could be a few snow showers by the end of the day on Monday, that is. But tonight it is going to be cold. Temperatures dropping down to around 31 degrees in Corning, Elmira around 31 degrees as well. We could see a little bit of snow to start off the day, switching over to rain as we do warm up into the low 50s. 46 degrees though in Perkinsville. As we move into the weekend, again, another round of rain and snow on Sunday into Monday, and the colder air returns on Tuesday.
Numbers of COVID-19 deaths and hospitalizations continue to decline across the country, but the number of new coronavirus cases remains high. The U.S. still far away from herd immunity and still very concerned about those new variants spreading across the country. Mandy Gaither has more.
In the U.S., it's a war of numbers. The daily COVID-19 death rate expected to slow in the coming weeks after more than a month of declining cases and hospitalizations. But new cases across the country remain high. 72,000 new cases each day the past week on average, according to Johns Hopkins University. Even with vaccines, the country is still nowhere near herd immunity levels, and experts continue to send out a warning another case surge is likely on its way, fueled by virus variants.
Scientists estimate that the B.1.1.7 variant will be the predominant form of the virus in the United States by mid to late March.
That's the highly contagious variant first identified in the UK, now confirmed in at least 45 states. But other variants are concerning too. One scientists are keeping their eyes on in California. Another variant, two separate teams of researchers say they've found in New York City and other areas in the Northeast.
The scary thing about this new variant is not only does it look like it could potentially be easier to spread, but it looks like the new variant has also adapted ways in order to kind of evade our immune system.
To address the growing threat, the CDC is teaming up with public and private labs for more genomic sequencing to better identify the variants.
We need to ramp up our vaccination efforts. If we get everyone vaccinated, we will be protected. The vaccines are going to protect against the new variants. They may not protect as well, but they still will help overall.
A new study indicates that certain arthritis drugs can help critically ill COVID-19 patients. This study focused on medications used to treat rheumatoid arthritis. Those drugs were found to help ICU coronavirus patients who got either mechanical ventilation or cardiovascular support. But more research is still needed because another study found that one arthritis drug did not result in hospitalized patients with COVID-19 pneumonia getting significantly better. Both studies were published in the New England Journal of Medicine on Thursday. Hyundai is recalling 82,000 electric cars globally. The vehicle's batteries must be replaced after 15 reports of car fires. No one has been hurt in any of the incidents, and none of the fires took place in the U.S., but the recall is one of the most expensive in history. Replacing an entire battery on an electric car is an extreme measure. It requires a similar amount of work and expense as replacing an entire engine in a traditional gas-powered car. On a per-vehicle basis, the average cost about $11,000. That's an astronomically high number for a recall. It's going to cost Hyundai about $900 million to fix it. The timing couldn't possibly have been worse for a tattoo a Kentucky woman got at the beginning of the pandemic. The ink now has a very different meaning since the virus has spread just about everywhere. Alex Valverde has her story.
Leah Holland just wanted to get a tattoo inspired by some kind words from a friend.
We were just kind of talking about things that we admire about each other, and he said, "You courageously and radically refuse to wear a mask," like meaning that I'm like undeniably myself. And so I thought that that was a really, I guess, poetic way of saying that.
After planning it for a couple of years, Holland got the tattoo on March 4th, 2020. 2 days before Kentucky reported its first case of COVID-19. And the words "refuse to wear a mask" unfortunately and quickly took on a whole new meaning.
It basically made it look like I'm totally, anti-mask or whatever, which is not the case.
Worried about how it looked, Holland said she covered her arms in public.
So I wore cardigans year-round.
But over time was able to laugh about it and even shared her tattoo story on TikTok this week.
What is the dumbest tattoo that you've ever gotten?
Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and let you guys know that I won.
Where it quickly went viral and gained national and international attention.
I just kind of wanted people to laugh with me because I think it's funny now too.
And plenty of people laughed with her, joking about the timing. One comment even suggesting she add the line, "Hindsight is 2020."
I was dying laughing. I'm like, I'm glad that there are people that find this as funny as I think it is.
And in the end, Holland says she doesn't regret the tattoo and is happy to have this story behind it.
It'll be a funny story to tell years from now. I don't think it'll ever not be a funny story.
Close to 11 million people now have their names on Mars. The names were written on 3 tiny chips that went on board the Perseverance rover, which landed last week on the red planet. NASA invited people around the world to submit their names through the Send My Name to Mars campaign. The names were scribbled using high-precision technology. Those chips, though, contain more than 150 essays by the people who pitched names for Perseverance and for the Ingenuity helicopter that will fly on Mars. If you did submit your name, you can retrieve what NASA calls your boarding pass on the agency's website. If not, you can still sign up to send your name on future Mars missions. A California firefighter got to put his skills to the test this week, delivering his own baby on the side of the road. Contra Costa County firefighter Carl Tower says he and his wife were on the way to the hospital when they realized the baby was not going to wait. Talk about pressure. But he said his wife was the only one who did the hard work. The baby girl came so fast they haven't even yet decided on a name. The weirdest of years calls for the weirdest of discoveries. You won't believe what the Transportation Department found in 2020. Jeremy Roth has more in this. Take a look at this.
Airport security officials are used to confiscating all kinds of bizarre stuff, from legit dangerous items to just plain weird ones. Really? The TSA recently shared their top 10 catches of 2020, and a bizarre highlight among their finds was a baby shark. Don't sing the song. Hey, I'm serious. The deceased baby shark in this jar wasn't so much the issue, it was the preservative solution it was being transported in. The TSA considers it a hazardous material. Other highlights on the administration's list of grabs: marijuana stuffed into a bottle of shampoo, a live smoke grenade, and a homemade cigar humidor that unfortunately looked like a pipe bomb. But the number one thing 2 agents found in 2020 was each other. A pair of TSA canine handlers were married after meeting on the job, and their faithful furry security sidekicks were part of the ceremony, dressed to impress. A shamefully shaggy sheep was found wandering in southern Australia and was given a much-needed makeover. The sheep, named Barak, was carrying 66 pounds of excess wool, which is not only dangerous for the animal, it's sheer madness. So sheer, they did. Animal sanctuary workers gave the poor puffball a long overdue trim, and video of the shaggy sheep gone shorn was shared to surefire social media success. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
We want to leave you with this smile tonight. An 8-year-old girl in Colorado forming a special bond of friendship with her mailman. Ivy Hutchins has autism. Her mom says she doesn't make friends easily and connects better with adults. Every day, Ivy waits on her front porch for Bruce to deliver the mail in their home in Basalt. He's delivered more than just the mail, though. For Christmas, he gave her a postal sweater. For her birthday, she got a card signed by all of her friends at the local post office.
She's special. She's always just brought a smile to my face.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
The mailman.
The mailman.
Bruce has delivered the mail to the family for several years now. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great night.